On behalf of Roy Smalley and the Talk North staff, I would officially like to thank the Twins for giving us something good to talk about. They have Twins. We're talking here on Friday morning. Twins are on a 5-game winning streak as the San Francisco Giants come to town. They are now sniffing distance of 500. They're just a couple of games out of the last wild card spot. They're still kind of buried in the division because the division is actually pretty good. But we have good things to talk about this week, and we will get to them with Roy Smalley, our hitting expert, former Twin all-star, former Twins broadcaster. Great to have him here on the Chin Music Show. It'll be Roy and myself today. We'll get back to LaVelle here soon. Also, if you're new to the show or you missed last week's episode, I had a long talk with Scott Miller, former Twins beat writer for the St. Paul Pioneer Press. Scott and I competed against each other. We became friends. He wrote a book, Skipper, Why Baseball Managers Matter and Always Will. Really good deep dive into modern managing, how analytics affects them, how certain managers have gone with the analytics flow. Some have bucked it. And he tailed Dave Roberts for a while, shadowed him for a while, had a long conversation with Tom Kelly. It's all in that last episode. Go check that out. You can find all the shows at talknorth.com. Chin Music today is coming from the Aquarius Home Services Studio and is presented by Giggly THC Beverages and Onyx Hunt. Roy, let's get to it. How much of what we're seeing from the Twins now do you think is real and sustainable?
I appreciate the hitting expert moniker you slap on me here. And as a hitting expert, supposed hitting expert, sometimes you need to be able to get in the team's head the team that you're covering, into their head, and talk exactly a week ago about how worried you are about their offense, so that you get them to listen and say, oh no, Smalley says he's worried about it and we can't hit. We better turn on, because it was exactly after we posted our show last week that, and if you will recall, I said, I'm worried about Buck. He's got to do more. Well, Buck's doing more. I said I was worried about the club. You're going to see them go through streaks, and they're in one of the bad streaks that are going to happen. I still think that will be the case, but as I also said, we'll see some good streaks, and we're seeing a really good streak. They look totally different at the plate. Guys are hitting the ball in the opposite field. Guys are striking out less, and when Buck hits the way Buck's hitting, everything works. I mean, it's been proven out. Please, to the gods above, the hitting gods above, let Buck play a full season healthy. That's all we can ask for. And yes, it's fun to watch these guys hit when they're swinging well. So I'm not going to make any other comment about the fact that it could be just a streak. I'm going to say, Buck is the lead dog. The other guys are pulling along behind him, and it's been a lot more fun.
And let's get more into Buxton, because the easy default position for Twins fans, for depressed Minnesota sports fans, is okay, Buck's never going to be healthy. They wasted their money on him. Even when he's healthy, he's not a scientific hitter, so he's going to have these slumps. Could the fact that he is as healthy right now as he has been for 8 or 9 years, that he is running without problems, that he is not asking for days off, they aren't giving him extra days off, they're just treating him like a normal player, and he's in a groove. Is it possible that this isn't just one of Buck's brief streaks? Is it possible that we might see a full season where he does something really impressive?
Yeah, it's absolutely possible, and it is as much about the fact. I mean, the fact that he's not hurt. There's two pieces of that, right? I mean, one, when you're hurt, you're just not as good. Yeah, I mean, I don't care who you are, you're just not as good when you're hurt. And when your knee is hurt, stand in the box and hit the way Buxton likes to hit, and your knee is bothering you, for example, you're not going to have the same drive. You're not going to have the same ability to set your back leg. It was his right knee. You can't really set that back knee, set your foot in the ground really hard, which is how you control your timing of your stride, and when your front foot comes down, and where your weight is when it's supposed to be where it is, and that's part of it. The other part of it that I think is even more important is just the fact that he's playing. To your point, he's just playing every day, and when you play every day, things eventually they start falling into place. And if they get a little out of sorts for an at bat or 3 or 5, you're still in there on at bat number 6 or an 8 and 10. I mean, and with that talent, it comes back around. So, when you're out of the lineup, every third day or every fourth day or day game after night game, because they're trying to rest you. And this has always been my problem with the idea about we got to give these guys, an awful lot of rest, and a guy gets a day off a week. I believe that really harms a player's rhythm at the plate. And I think I understand the need for rest. I mean, I played, 3 years of shortstop in my, with the Twins back at the old Met. And in a 3-year period, played 150, 158, and 162 at shortstop. And I was tired, by the end of the season. I maybe could have used a day here and there, but I would not have wanted to take a day, once a week, let alone every third or fourth day like Buck's been doing it, try to save him. I think it's really an important point that he's just out there every day. You get in a comfort zone, you get in a rhythm, you get it, everything feels familiar. And every time you go up there at the plate, it's like, you've been here for a week, you know what's going on. And I just think that's hugely important.
It's a great point. And, I was not the athlete you were. I was not ever close to being a professional athlete, but just in my athletic career, I couldn't stand missing a minute. I couldn't stand not being on the field. I just felt like you're going to learn something. You're going to get better. You're going to get in a groove. You might score a goal. I was a lacrosse player. You might score a goal at the end of a blowout, regardless who was winning, that might get you going for the next day. It's like, and then covering the Twins, seeing Puckett play every day, seeing Molitor play every day, seeing Knobloch play every day. Justin Morneau, when he was healthy, played every day. You felt like if they had an 0 for 4 one day, it was almost a guarantee they were going to do something good the next day.
Well, it's really true. I mean, it's true by percentages.
Yeah.
It's absolutely true by percentages, and it's true because if you're playing every day, the 0 for 4s last about a day because you're too good for them for it to be any different. And I think that's the way it could be with Buck this year if he can just be an everyday player. Just go out there and be familiar and comfortable, because here I am again doing the same thing I did yesterday and the day before and the day before, and we'll do tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow.
Yeah, well said. What are you seeing from Carlos Correa? He's obviously broken out of the early season slump to some degree. He's hitting some bad luck. He's hit a lot of line drives. I do think he's hitting. You could see him just saying, "Okay, I'm gonna hit line drives up the middle and get myself back together." Are you seeing the potential for a good rest of the season from him?
Yeah, I think Carlos was, and we've talked about this before, and every hitter, goes through this to some degree or another. But as I watched him, his front hip was just a little quick, and he was just leaking toward left field, towards pull field a little bit. And yes, he did it in some really, really bad luck. And, hitting a bunch of line drives at people and hitting 096 or whatever it is to start the season, that can get in your head. You look at that number up on the board and you can't stand it. And sometimes even for veteran players, you can know it's going to come around, but subconsciously your body starts doing different things, to try to change change the results, even subconsciously. And you can tell with Correa when his front hip's a little quick, because he swings at more sliders down and away, and misses them by a lot. When he's going well, he either takes that pitch or he'll dunk it into right field or whatever, but he won't look really bad on it too many times. And it's been a lot of that. It's been, if you've got this kind of in your mind's eye, a lot of hitting over the top of the ball, weak ground balls to pitcher or third or short, just really topping the ball. That's a sweep swing. That's not a up the middle, back at the ball type of swing. And he's got the latter it now going a lot better. He's willing. He's letting the ball travel a little bit. He's not quick with his lower body, to pull field. He's just kind of accepting and trusting his talent, and I think he's gonna be fine. There's a big streak coming from him. That ball he hit 9 miles the other night into the second deck, the high fastball. That's a great indication, not because he hit the home run, but because it was a high fastball that he just absolutely got on top of and punished. And that's you don't want to say a guy's hitting better, swinging better because he hit a home run. But what I will say is, when a guy's swinging better, a home run on that high fastball will happen when it never would have happened before.
Yeah, well said. All right, I think LaVelle's going to join us for the rest of the show. I want to first remind you we're coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services Studios.
Ah, that first sip of coffee. Is there anything better? Yup. Coffee made with amazing water from Aquarius, your authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Enjoy worry-free water throughout your home for less than buying that daily cup of joe. Imagine spotless dishes, softer laundry, and drinking water you can trust. Plus, up to 25% off a new Connecticut system. Schedule your free water analysis at AquariusHomeservices.com. Aquarius, earning the right to be recommended.
And we are presented to you by Giggly THC Beverages. I'm drinking a lot of this stuff. My wife is drinking a lot of this stuff. We had a meeting at Talk North the other day, and everybody there is drinking it a lot. It's just so nice to have something that tastes good, has a little kick to it, and no risk of a hangover. It's the perfect weeknight drink. It's the perfect day after you might have had too much to drink. It's something you can actually drink during the middle of the day if you're hanging around the house, and it's not going to slow you down. I love the flavors. You can get them at any Quick Trip across Minnesota. You can find them pretty much every place that sells alcohol or any grocery store. You can also go to giggly.com and order whatever you like. Use the promo code Giggly North. That's Giggly North is in Talk North to get 50% off your first order, and then just keep on ordering it. I'll let you look up the flavors. I like everything. My favorite is probably blueberry lemonade. My wife's favorite is the lemon tea. We also like the seltzers just because they're so light and refreshing, especially if you drop a lime in there. Check it out. We love it, and you will too. Giggly THC Beverages. Also want to ask, have you ever driven past a piece of land and wondered who owns that? Or maybe you didn't know exactly where property line runs. That's where Onyx Hunt comes in, and it's not just for hunters. There are folks using Onyx for their jobs every day throughout the country. From farmers and ranchers mapping out their fields, wildland firefighters navigating rough terrain, to construction workers needing to know who owns what property, this app offers something for everyone. If you need the best land ownership maps, aerial imagery, and property boundaries in your pocket, Onyx Hunt is the tool for the job. Try it free for 7 days. Download Onyx Hunt in the app or Google Play Store, or visit onyxmaps.com/hunt to get started. All right, LaVelle, I'm going to ask you this question in a slightly different way than I asked Roy. The Twins have righted themselves. We're talking here on a morning where they have a 5-game winning streak going. Most of it. What do you tell the frustrated Twins fan who doesn't want to believe this team can be competitive at this point?
I would tell them that, hey, the one thing that this team has going for it is that the pitching staff from top to bottom is pretty solid. And it's easier to turn things around that way than when you're trying to out-hit a bad pitching staff. The starting pitchers on the team are now ranked among the best in baseball. After that first week of the season, when you saw Paddock struggle, Ober had the terrible game, the starting rotation's been nails. And the bullpen's had some hiccups, no doubt, but they're just coming off a series against Baltimore, in which I believe they combined to throw 12 scoreless innings. So the arms are working. It's always been offense with this team. And now we're seeing evidence that things are coming around. They're taking better at bats at the plate. They're hitting to the opposite field a little bit more. Buxton has been fun to watch because he's been healthy. You can tell he's healthy, and he's back to being an all-around force. He's got 8 home runs. He threw out a base runner trying to score on Thursday. It looks like the old Buck. And Carlos Correa's the X factor here. I think he really needs to hit. I got on him a little bit in the paper this week because I think overall he is not the player that the Twins invested in his 4th year with the organization. He has shown some signs of breaking out, but he's also still had too many at bats in which he's not making hard contact. I really think he could be a key to the offense if he can get his back going. And Royce Lewis is healthy, and we all know that players don't stay on rehabilitation assignments long enough to get their swing ready. As soon as they prove that they're healthy, the major league team calls them up, and that's what they've done with Royce. Royce is still trying to get his offense going, but we all know that what he could do when he's going good at the plate. So I would just say, hey, this team could pitch, and that's a big part of the equation here. And once the offense gets going, which it has in the last week or so, you're going to see them get on a little bit of run, and they're on that run.
Agreed.
Yeah, Jimmy, a couple of
Yes.
a couple of points here, that I was going to make earlier as well. LaVelle's absolutely right. If you think about why the Twins were struggling so badly for the first month of the season, it really, we focus on the offense, but we've always known LaVelle's exact point that that it was going to be, they were going to rely on pitching. We've said it numerous times here ever since spring training. The starting pitching is going to be plenty good enough to get them to that lockdown, what looks to be a lockdown bullpen, right? And then Brock Stewart wasn't available, and they break camp, and that lockdown bullpen was anything but locked down. And so with this offense, and the way they have the starting pitching set up, the bullpen really needed to be, they're counting on them being locked down, and they just weren't. And all of a sudden now, and it actually preceded the offense getting going too. The bullpen found its, to LaVelle's point, found its footing. Griffin Jax is going to be the eighth inning guy. Ninth inning plenty of times, and he just wasn't good. And it's like you're scratching your head. And Cole Sands all of a sudden wasn't good, and you're scratching your head. And Brock Stewart wasn't available, and now all of a sudden, I got to believe that those two and Juan Duran, they are the lockdown, right? There's plenty of guys to get to them that are very good, and that's what makes them a lockdown. But those three guys, really, really important, and all of a sudden they're pitching like we thought that they would. So it's going forward from here. And it feels like, okay, now we're back to where we thought, and that is the pitching is going to be plenty good enough if the guys can score a few runs.
Yep. And let's talk about one of the keys to that bullpen. Duran, I talked to him early in spring training. He was like fiddling around with the grip in his front of his locker. And I said, "What are you working on?" He said, "New pitch. Can't tell you what it is yet. It looks like it's kind of a sweeper." And now we see Pablo throwing, I think, a second kind of changeup, I think it is. What do you make of those additions, Roy, for especially Duran adding another breaking pitch to his arsenal? Because he's been lights out.
Yeah, I love the idea of more sweeper action from him than the more vertical curveball. I think he's going to have an opportunity to throw the sweeper in better spots. He had it with the breaking ball that he had. He just didn't have control in the strike zone with it. He could throw it for strikes, but he never really knew where it was going. He didn't know if it was going to be on the inside corner or the outside corner, if it was going to be up or down. And the problem that I had with it is that when he threw it for a pitch that was going to be close enough to swing at, it wasn't looks like a strike for a long time and then goes to ball. It looked like a high strike and then settles in the middle of the zone, kind of. It wasn't. It didn't fool people off the 100-mile-an-hour fastball enough, because the ball came up out of his hand. You could see the hitters recognize that, and then it was either right there in the hitting zone or it was bounced in the dirt. And I really like the idea of 100 miles an hour on that inside part of the plate to a right-hander, and then a sweeper that's starting at the inside and breaking away. Not only he'll be able to control that better for tougher strikes, but I also think it's going to be a knee buckler, where the curveball wasn't a knee buckler. This one, after seeing the fastball or knowing thinking a fastball might be coming, and then getting sweeper, I think you're going to see a lot of rear ends kind of sitting down toward the third base dugout on that pitch, and it's going to be a knee buckler. I like it a lot.
That's going to be really interesting to watch. LaVelle, what do you think the extra changeup does for Pablo?
I just think, in this day and age, and I discovered this in spring training when I was down in camp. Pitchers are throwing 5 or 6 different pitches now. They keep adding on, just to try to give hitters more things to think about. And the goal is to not throw a pitch more than 30% of the time and not throw it less than 12% of the time. You want to keep it in the hitter's head that anything can come at them. Sonny Gray threw 7 different pitches. I believe Seth Lugo throws 9. Brock Stewart has 5. I think Zebby Matthews has 5. They're all adding pitches. So an accomplished pitcher like Pablo, whose mechanics are immaculate and has a great head for the game, it shouldn't be difficult for him to add different pitches to provide more looks, to get hitters off other pitches, and just screw with their heads as to what could be possibly coming next. And plus, Pablo already has one of the better changeups of baseball, and adding to that just makes him that much tougher. And he has had an excellent season. If you talk about candidates to go to the All-Star game, I think Byron Buxton would be number 1 at this point. But I also think that Pablo has put himself in that conversation.
Well, if he pitches like he's capable of, boy, a lot of things fall into place for this team. Up ahead, we want to talk about Julian, our friend LaTroy Hawkins, and we'll do our Booze and Blues segment for the day. Really looking forward to the segment on LaTroy Hawkins here in a second. First, we want you to hear from Talk North star Michael Russo on Clamshell Beach Resort.
Hey, have you been dreaming of a lake cabin lifestyle with boating, fishing, and family fun in northern Minnesota? Well, lately I've thought a lot about how cool it would be to have a getaway like so many Minnesotans. And if you're like me, you probably think that owning your own lakeside getaway is beyond your budget. Well, if you think lake cabin real estate prices keep going up, well, think again. This is Russo, and I'm here to tell you there is an affordable way to enjoy a cabin lifestyle and all that goes with it. And yes, I said affordable. I founded a Clamshell Beach Resort, which is located on the Whitefish chain of 14 lakes for you and your family to enjoy. Here's how. Clamshell has lake homes that offer deeded fractional ownership, and the keywords there are deeded and fractional. You own it. Imagine having 5 weeks a year to enjoy Clamshell with its beaches, pool, and lodge that's full of kids' activities. Is golf your game? There's a great golf course right across the road. Like winter sports? Well, you can go ice fishing, cross-country skiing, or snowmobiling right out the door at Clamshell. And there's no maintenance, no grass mowing, no snow removal. It's done all for you. And you can own a share of Clamshell Beach Resort at an affordable price. To learn more about ownership opportunities at Clamshell Beach Resort, go to cottagesonwhitefish.com or contact Pat Egan at 612-220-9819. That's cottagesonwhitefish.com or Pat Egan at 612-220-9819.
Thanks also to a great Minnesota company, Minnesota Masonic Charities.
When people think of the Freemasons, they often think of secret handshakes and unusual hats, and of course, the pancake breakfast. Minnesota Masonic Charities would prefer that you think about the work that they do right here in our community. Places like the Masonic Cancer Center at the University of Minnesota or the Masonic Children's Hospital and the Masonic Home in Bloomington. They are just a few examples of the important work that the Freemasons support here in Minnesota. As part of the largest fraternal organization in the world, Masons have consistently answered the call when it comes to charitable needs. We look forward to learning so much more about their many programs here in the weeks to come.
All right, is Eddie Julian a big league player? Roy, why don't you go first?
I think it's TBD. I really do. There's no question that he has talent in there to hit. But I think the issue for him, and again, broken record-ish, but I because I've said this before, his average at best, if not below, defensive ability shown so far is going to really hold him back. He has got to hit a ton. And from what I've seen, I just haven't seen the adjustments. And I mentioned this toward the end of last year, and we talked about it over the winter, and here we are again. And that's his swing plane for me, and what he's trying to do in his head seems to me like is going to be the most streaky of streakiness, and there's going to be a lot of good things that happen at the plate for him because he's got talent. And there's going to be a lot of times when you're still scratching your head saying, is he ever going to really get himself rolling? And so I still think it's to be determined. As I said before, I think I mean he may have to go. He may have to play in AAA for 2.5 months and get things totally turned around to give himself another really good shot.
I agree with Roy. I don't think Julian is a major league defensive player. He's had opportunities to work on his defense, and he still has bad footwork. He still gets eaten up by certain ground balls. He still makes poor decisions, hitting runners in the back, not giving himself a lane to throw, and hitting base runners going from first and second in the back. I mean, that's just fundamental mistakes there. The disappointing thing is that we haven't seen an improvement. His fellow Canadian Corey Koski was not good when he first got on the scene and spent an offseason working his ass off and came back an above average defensive player. So he's totally capable of doing it. So that is my concern with Julian. Now he's playing himself into being a first baseman or a DH, where the offense right now isn't where it's at. With the bat, I still want to hold out hope. I don't have his this season's numbers in front of me, but he came into this year with 384 strikeouts in 312 games. That is Miguel Sano range of whiffing. And a lot of those are taking called strike threes. So there's some sort of mental adjustment he needs to make when he's got 2 strikes on him, or just needs to revamp his 2-strike approach and get ready, be more ready to fire on pitches that are near the plate and give himself a chance. Because we've seen a ball jump off his bat, and he's got the ability to hit the ball to opposite field, no doubt. There's something there. And I also have to remember, too, he didn't play in 2019 after he got drafted because he was injured. And he missed a year in 2020 because of COVID. So those are like a year and a half of development that he didn't get. So he's a little bit behind in that regard. So you're kind of hoping that the light bulb does come on and he makes the offensive adjustments he needs to make and work on his defense to become a credible major leaguer. I'm not ready to give up on Julian, but man, he has dug a hole for himself in 2+ seasons playing with the Twins.
The fact that he didn't come to spring training this year a better fielder bugs me, and I have that in my head. And that's so my short answer to my own question is right now, no. Let's get to one of my favorite human beings, LaTroy Hawkins. I first met him when I went down to Fort Wayne to cover a start he made at Class A when he was undefeated in low A after being drafted by the Twins. He was a very interesting young man, and he has grown into he and his wife set up a house for domestic abuse survivors in Dallas. He's helped kids get through college. He's an ambassador of the game. Great guy to talk to about any subject. And he just graduated from Southern New Hampshire University with a bachelor's degree in sociology. He graduated magna cum laude. He did it because he had promised his grandmother that he would graduate from college. So congratulations to LaTroy. If either of you guys have anything to add to that, go right ahead.
Yeah, I saw that, and I reached out to LaTroy and congratulated him. That's quite an honor. It's been, one of the great things when you cover baseball for as long as we have, Jim, is that you get to see guys kind of grow up. In addition to becoming good players, you see how they develop as people. And I remember being in the Twins clubhouse where LaTroy was just trying to dress for a road trip and looked all messed up and disheveled, and Alex Cole had to come over and straighten out his collar and help him with his tie and goofy stuff like that. And to see him grow as a player and a person has been really pleasing to see. Because it wasn't easy for him his first few years as a pitcher, trying to figure things out as a starter, then moving to the bullpen and finding a role and pitching much longer than I think any of us expected him to. But he became an old soul for a lot of teams, a lot of clubhouses in the league. And for him to be willing to fulfill a promise he made to go back to college and get a degree, it's just awesome. I mean, it's just an impressive achievement by him.
Yeah, I think LaTroy's life has been one impressive achievement after another, and just all the things that the two of you just talked about are testimony to that. In addition to that, I mean, my addition will be this: I am supremely admiring of LaTroy because he pitched for however many, what did he pitch for 19 years or whatever it was? I mean, just
21 years, 11
21
teams.
years. All right. I mean, he loved the game. He just kept pitching. He'd go, okay, I'm not going to play for you. I'll play for them. I'm not going to play for them. I'll play for somebody else. And he just kept pitching and finding ways that the manager wanted him in the ballgame at different times. And I am so admiring of that in and of itself. This game is hard, and you get dunked on. You get dunked on as a pitcher by guys lighting you up, and you get dunked on by teams trading you or letting you go, and then going somewhere else and keeping after it, and finding ways to be success to find success with the attitude that he always had about that. Okay, I have tremendous admiration for that. That's part A. Part B is he did all that with that wonderful attitude that he has about the game and about life. And you pitched for 21 years, you talk to him now or you listen to him on broadcast, and there's no arrogance about that. There's no well, this is what I did, and this is don't forget I did this and that. I mean, he just is who he is, which is a truly wonderful human being, and I just have tremendous admiration for all the things that he's done.
Well said. Congratulations, LaTroy. Maybe we'll get LaTroy on this podcast someday just to kick stuff around. He's just a joy to talk to and to observe. All right, let's get to our Booze and Blues segment. I will start with this. I play in a cover band, so I'm always looking at covers, and I love when great artists do covers of other great artists. It's a very frequent phenomenon, and it's sometimes you'll hear a country artist doing a cover of a rocker, vice versa. It's always really inventive. One of my favorite juxtapositions of a cover song. Prince writes "Kiss." Great song, great video. Tom Jones does a cover of it, and believe it or not, he kills it. Absolutely kills it. So go check out both. It's just hilarious to see Tom Jones covering Prince. It doesn't sound like it would work. It actually does.
I think I've heard that before. Yeah, I think you're right.
It's great stuff.
Well, Tom's a crooner, man. He's got a great voice. So.
Crooner and like Prince, a sex symbol.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
He was.
Maybe Prince got some of it from Tom Jones.
I would not accuse Prince of that. LaVelle, you got anything?
Hey, I want to speaking of covers. Speaking of covers, I'm just a quick story. One of the best ones I ever heard, just because of the unlikeliest of juxtapositions. It was I had a big celebration for family and clients and friends one time, and rented a suite at Target Field to see Zach Brown, who's terrific. I mean, if you're a country fan or an Islands music fan or whatever, I mean, Zach Brown's terrific. But he also was a cover band, in Atlanta for years and years and years before he before he hit it big, right? And he used to play all kinds of stuff. So we're at the concert and we're just jamming. He's doing all this stuff, and then he goes through a set in the band's playing where he does different covers of different songs, and they did Led Zeppelin's Kashmir. And I'm going to tell you what, it stunned all of us. It was, I mean, that's that iconic song. Nobody could do that, right? Nobody could get out the dual neck guitar with the bow and like Jimmy Page and do, Kashmir. But he made it work. It was hysterical because it was so doggone fun. And so that's all I got to say about covers right now. That was one of my most memorable.
And by the way, Zach Brown, it's not exactly my genre, but for him to play the way he plays he plays an acoustic guitar the way like Tom Morello plays an electric guitar. He is unbelievable. And then I love guitars, and I play guitar, and there are people I watch and go, okay, he's really good at what he's doing. I can do it, but he makes it sound better. Then you watch somebody like Zach Brown and say, I can't do that. I can't touch that.
Yeah, he's awfully good. And it's not, I wouldn't call it my genre for the most part, but I do like, the country music that I like an awful lot, and he's right in there with me.
Yep. Well, hold on here. I've got a bourbon thing for you guys this week.
Knock me over with a feather.
One of the bourbons I haven't had a lot of through the years, but it's considered the Cadillac of bourbons is Weller. I have had the Weller 12-year, which is a fantastic blend. Just absolutely delicious. It just goes easy on the palate, easy in, easy out. Anyway, a friend of mine, Tom Johnson, owns a place called the Lakewood Tavern in Lake Elmo, just north of 494 and that 494 interchange in Lake Elmo. And on Tuesday, May 20th, they're having a cigar and whiskey tasting event in which you can have a host of Wellers, Weller Antique, Weller 12, Weller Full Proof, as well as 2 cigars provided by the Arturo Fuente establishment. So for $95, you get to sample 3 high-end bourbons plus a couple of really solid cigars at the Lakewood Tavern in Lake Elmo. That's on Tuesday, May 10th. I take that back. Tuesday, May 20th. My bad. Tuesday, May 20th at 6:00. So, I plan on going. All you cigar and whiskey lovers out there, this is an event that should be right up your alley.
Good stuff. Thank you, gentlemen. Enjoyed it. Hopefully the Twins will continue to give us something to talk about. By the time the Timberwolves are done, I want the Twins to be in a race that it'll be worth writing about and talking about. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. So thanks to Roy. Thanks to LaVelle. Thanks to everyone who listens. We do appreciate it. And we will talk to you next week.